Sophie, recently appointed segment president for Water and Wastewater at Schneider Electric, discusses the many ways in which the company can contribute to the digital transformation and sustainability priorities of both the global municipal water sector, as well as many other large water-using vertical markets, with energy efficiency and data analytics two key focus areas.
Okay, so the obvious place to start, I guess, would be your career to date. You've recently been announced as, I read this out, segment president for Water and Wastewater at Schneider Electric. So just be good to understand, how you ended up in this position.
Hi, Philippe. Well, yes, after 22 years in Schneider, I'm changing role to take that one and to lead one of our segment organization. And what is really exciting is that so far I've been involved a lot with technology, working in particular in the development of digital solutions, IoT solution. And here I get to apply this solve some issues. And what's really exciting about the water segment is that we get to have a great impact on sustainability overall. And you know that in Schneider Electric, we are very active and passionate about energy efficiency. What I see as an opportunity in the water segment is that the stakes around water efficiency are at least as big. So it is really a fascinating topic.
Yeah, and I mean, water and wastewater, I mean, it's a huge topic. And as you've alluded to there, digital transformation is sort of one strand that's important at the moment. And we've got the sustainability imperative. I guess the good news is that with the digital technologies you've got, you can help address, and the digital technology you have can help, if not solve, at least go a long way to addressing sustainability challenges and climate change more generally. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And we are putting those technology to good use for several purposes. We are using those technology to help the water industry achieve zero carbon emission, achieve zero water loss, and achieve zero waste. All of them contributing to the overall sustainability target. And digital technologies allow, well, first to collect information, because you cannot solve what you don't know. Once you have good visibility and understanding of what's happening, this is where you can start to take action. And with the digital technology, you can automate part of those action. And then you can have continuous improvement circles automated, run by those digital solutions to be on an improvement journey. You don't solve sustainability challenge from one day to the next. It's not a button that you push and oops, you are sustainable. It's really a journey, and there are many, many levels that you can use to improve your sustainability. So digital technology is helping you to identify where you can act, to automate some of this action, and to have a global view.
And in terms of the water cycle, from when the rain falls out of the sky to when it ends up, in the sea or being recycled, I'm fairly sure that Schneider, you can impact almost all the way. So whether it's, water treatment, wastewater treatment, the flooding, say droughts, all that, you have solutions and or knowledge to help water companies and water users more generally address a lot of these challenges. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Historically, we have been active in the water treatment and wastewater treatment plant for decades. And this is where our journey started with the water industry. And progressively, we developed more solutions to cover the full cycle. So adding some other treatment capabilities, typically like desalination, but looking at urban drainage, looking at network monitoring and optimization. And today, we have a full portfolio of digital solutions that cover really the full water cycle. So not only for one utility, one industry, but we can really help a territory to have stewardship on the full use of water on a given territory.
And I'm wondering, in terms of perhaps where the company is now and where it might be, how do you see it developing? I think everyone's aware, and you're already involved with a lot of the water industry stakeholders, shall we say, and helping them. But how much more is there to do in terms of whether it's addressing specific issues around the water, water use and disposal, or just the energy efficiency side, which I know is another sweet spot for the company?
Well, there are really a lot of topics emerging because of the what I will call the water crisis, or at least the huge stress around the water resources availability. So there is one big topic, which is how to regulate the use of water so that agriculture can get some, industries can get some, domestic usage can get some. So that's one big topic where we see some progress and investment, where we see as well lots of opportunity pushed by regulation and strategies of individual operators is sustainability. So it's a wide world. So yes, in sustainability, energy efficiency is one way to reduce your carbon footprint. The less energy you use to run your water treatment plant or your water plant, the less carbon footprint you have. But that's not the only lever. We are looking globally beyond carbon at greenhouse gas emission, how to decrease those emissions. We are looking at how to reduce waste, how to treat waste, how to recycle and revalorize, create either energy from waste, create biogas from waste. So have a complete cycle of reuse. So there are many topics that are emerging. Is maybe we could have talked about emergence a decade ago. Now we are beyond emerging. Those topics are identified, and I see a lot of awareness and willingness to address those topics, both by authorities working on different kind of incentives or regulation, and by the operators themselves.
And in terms of, I mean, I know you as a global company, I know you from the data center industry and also semiconductor industry as well as water. So is part of the advantage you have that you're a global organization, so you can observe what's going on, say, in continent A, and potentially bring, something clever across to other places. And similarly with all the different industries you work with, are you able to, take something from whatever industry it is and bring it across to other? So I suppose what I'm saying is, how much of an advantage is it for you to have such a big footprint that you can identify things that work in, a particular place or industry, and then, help bring them into other industries and places?
You're right. It is a great advantage because we do see similar challenges and similar solutions emerging across industries. When we talk about water, of course, we think about what I could call the municipal water, but industries themselves are using a lot of water. And some stake, let me take one example. In the food and bev industry, they use a lot of water to clean pipes, to clean tanks between two different batch of any food or dairy you can think about. And to clean, they use water and chemicals in the water. So there are a lot of challenges in decreasing the amount of chemical used for cleaning and decreasing the amount of water used for cleaning to be efficient, but not to use too much, because then there is an environmental footprint that you have to consider. This is food and bev. But if you think about a water treatment plant, it's using as well a lot of chemical product for cleaning. So all the innovation that we see happening in food and bev for cleaning and optimization of chemical product can be applied as well in water treatment. Another example, if you think about the waste treatment industry, and if I take the example of organic waste, so biodegradable waste, one way to treat it is to use bacteria to digest it. It's the exact same one for water treatment. So similar challenges, potential common innovation. And for that example, we actually see in some places the organic waste being brought to the water treatment plant, put together with the wastewater and digested together by those bacteria as part of the same process. So yes, we do see more and more convergence between different sub-processes with the same goal, to address the environmental footprint of a given process.
And you mentioned earlier on data analytics and a lot of digital transformation, certainly in the water industry and others, say that people are looking at data. I won't say they're obsessed with data, but it's being flagged up as very important. So I'm just wondering where we are with it in the industry and what potentials. And people talk about smart water, which I guess is a slightly larger concept, but analytics seem to be key to it. So I suppose what I'm saying is, what's the hype and what's the reality? Everyone's saying, "Oh, we'll keep all your data; it's so valuable." All this rest, but what's the reality from compared to what people are maybe being sold?
Well, it's not easy to have only one answer to that, because what I see is that the water industry is a very heterogeneous market, and the size of the water operators vary a lot. We have some customers that manage 2 pumping stations, and we have other customers that are running plants all over the world. And the digital maturity of those different operators is, I think you can find all the extremes of the spectrum. However, it's not hype. We do see a lot of deployment of digital platforms to collect data and to use this data to take action. It's probably true that today it's deployed more in the bigger one that have both, more means, but more need as well to have an overview across their 30 plants, because if you have 30 plants, you can run as well a benchmark between the different plants, so you can have more value from more data. Maybe that's a shortcut, but the more data you have, the more ground you have for data analytics, and the more information you can extract from that. So we have plenty of customers that are using data platform. We actually, and when I say we, Schneider is a multiple facet. We keep evolving, and we are growing in particular through acquisition. So having in mind the acquisition of OSI Soft that we did a few years ago, OSI Soft had, and now Schneider has, a very strong data platform with Pi. And we see a lot of the big water operator using Pi already. The penetration of Pi in the water industry is pretty impressive, and they are using this data platform to cross data from different sources, to cross the production data with the weather data, with the operator data, and by crossing this data and contextualizing this data, they are able to optimize their overall processes.
I'm also wondering, because again, I know from my experience at Schneider and other industries, collaboration is a very important part of what you do. So you mentioned there you've acquired a company, but you often do partner with companies and between 2 or 3 organizations then produce end-to-end solutions. Is that a similar approach in the water industry? You recognize that you can't do everything for everyone, so you find strategic partners to bring about solutions for your customers.
Absolutely. And what's super interesting with the open data platforms that we have is that it's actually born to encourage collaboration, because it's very easy for an expert to encapsulate its expertise into an algorithm that is going to run on this data platform. So we are collaborating with a lot of partners that are super expert of one precise process, and they are developing a very specialized application for optimization of the methane capture. There are plenty of those. And because our platform is open, it's very easy to plug it and to natively or seamlessly connect data collected by the industry to this specific application. So the fact to have a modular architecture is facilitating a lot the creation of a very strong partnership ecosystem.
And in terms of customer, I mean, you've already explained some of the work you're doing, but whether or not you're allowed to share names, are you able to give us just a flavour of 1 or 2 projects maybe you're involved with at the moment, or have done, just different sort of customers and the ways in which you're helping, water-related activities and I guess the energy as well?
So we we are doing plenty. If I pick a few, so we are currently doing quite a lot on desalination, and it's in certain geographies. We are doing a lot in the Middle East, for example, where the water availability is a bit challenged. So desalination is one solution, and they have somehow easy access to energy, so it's a good combination. So we are quite involved in that. We are doing, for example, desalination as well for mining sites that are using a lot of water and need to get those big volume of water to the mining facility. So that's one part of our activity. We are doing more and more digital transformation, I would say end-to-end engagement, starting with consulting to really work hand in hand with our customer and identify the areas for improvement and start by the problems we want to solve, and then twist and tweak the technology to actually solve those issues. And this is super efficient. And we are doing several projects around sustainability, really to work again together with water operators to establish a carbon strategy. And to work both on the demand side and the use side. So on the demand side, I would say to look at the mix of their energy sources and propose alternative to have more green energy through electrification, microgrids, etc. And then on the use side, to reduce how much energy you use. So you are going to have more green energy in your mix and to use less energy for the same process outcome. So that's the typical kind of project we are working on right now.
Okay, and you're fairly new to your role, and I'm sure you're not going to rush into making any changes, but it'd be good to understand, I mean, before you arrived or now you're there, have you already identified, have you got any plans as to how you want to develop Schneider's presence in the water industry and water using industries, or are you still sort of feet under the table, just observing what's going on before you start making any changes? Or as I say, have you got any particular objectives you think, oh, I'd love to be able to do this? Just anything you can share.
Yeah, well, the time for observing and reflecting was in the handover period while jumping in the role. I have, and that was summer. And since then, I had actually the opportunity to already meet with several customers in different geographies. I met with customers in Europe. I was at World Water Tech event for North America 2 weeks ago. Met with several utilities from US and Canada, and looking at their stakes, there are really two axes that I want to reinforce. So it's not new. We have started already, but really digital transformation and sustainability strategy are the two axes of development that we are going to pursue for our business in the water industry.
Okay, and in terms of that, certainly on the sustainability side, clearly, I think it's fair to say most people are aware of climate change and making noises and potentially doing something. But do you think at the moment, I mean, I'm thinking, for example, I'm in the UK, and despite all the acknowledgement of the problems, we're perhaps still not moving fast enough. We still get surprised when we get floods, and in the summer when we're told there's hosepipe bans because there's not enough water. I mean, it's been going on for quite a while. Do you think that, not singling out the UK, but just as an example, do you think there aren't enough countries and the water providers within those that have really got to grips with the fact that floods and droughts aren't 1 in 100-year events? They're sadly 1 in
when you start to have several 100-year events.
Well, exactly. Yes, we can't say anymore. So yes, do you just worry that everyone's just a bit slow to realize that and still thinking, well, it'll all go back to normal in a few years' time? Or
so I didn't meet anyone thinking that it's going to go back to normal. And I think that there is the awareness on the fact that no, it's not going back to normal. It's pretty much across the board. Now, what is the solution to that? It's not an easy question. Which infrastructure do you need to put in place to be able to absorb the magnitude of the overflow? It's not easy, and it is big infrastructure project as well. So it means big investment, and the cycle to allocate the fund and to start those infrastructure work. Those are huge projects that are going to take time. And you'll find I am, I think, a born optimistic. The fact that everyone is aware and nobody is disputing anymore, at least very few left discussing the fact that it's not going back to normal is already super encouraging. And with probably as a post-COVID budget discussion in the different governments around the world, I do see more and more stimulus package allocated to infrastructure in general that are used for water infrastructure. So we are going there slowly. Definitely acceleration is needed, but at least I think the direction is understood, acknowledged, and shared for everyone.
I guess this is a difficult sort of final question because the rate of progress is very variable across the globe. But again, are you optimistic or pessimistic that, governments, again, I'm just referencing the UK, that it seems to be fairly obvious we've got to dig some large holes in the ground to store more water, to have the water there for when we get the dry summers. It's not happening as yet, and there's planning permission and it takes quite a while, etc. But that, as I say, that just worries me slightly, that we're not as urgent as we should be. But are you are you optimistic that by 2050, when we're all going to arrive at net zero magically, that's going to happen, or do you have any reservations that despite the acknowledgement of it, people are
again,
perhaps not
my
moving
reservation
fast
is more on are we going to be able collectively to move at the right speed? That's a question mark.
Yeah.
On the direction, I see a lot of action from I can take the example of the European community that is working on a Green Deal. There are discussions on a Blue Deal. So there are things happening. There are infrastructure happening as well. Hopefully, we will continue, and it's that's why I was a bit hesitant to describe it as a post-COVID stimulus. I really hope this survives because I hope COVID is not coming again, and I hope this commitment and engagement was not a hype because of post-COVID stimulus needed for the overall economy, but that we are going to sustain this investment over time because it's not going to be solved with a 3 years investment plan.
And just finally, do you think part of the problem is that governments are afraid of telling people that there are going to have to be significant changes to the lifestyle, or do you think that we can get to net zero with people having minimal impact, or are we all going to be told to, I don't know, stop using bars and only use showers, and we're all going to have grey water recycling fitted to our houses? I mean, how radical do you think we need to get, I suppose, is what I'm saying, to get there?
I think we should not be hesitant on that, because honestly, when I speak with my kids, not only should we not be afraid to tell them that radical change is needed, but they are the ones challenging me on the more radical change that we have to take. So I think there is a generation aspect to that discussion. And I really see I don't know how to call them, the younger generation, not only ready to make change, but very proactively challenging us as the more older generation to take the necessary action. So let's not hesitate to ask for those radical changes, because the younger generation is fully ready.
No, that's good. It's been fascinating to chat to you and share some great insights, Sophie. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Philippe.